experience, is it typically easier to groom a quarterback who's maybe a little older, a prospect, or is it better? Are you better off with a younger prospect who maybe hasn't, seen as much?
Yeah, I think every situation is different, regardless of the position, regardless of the player. Obviously, guys that have played in the league, that have certain experiences in the league, they've done it for a while. So there's some things that, maybe they know that a young guy that hasn't played in the league knows. But every situation is different. Every position is different.
What about in terms of systems? Does a certain system in a college program make it easier, or is it also a matter of everybody's different?
Yeah, I think that any team you go to is going to do things differently than the way you've done them in college. So there's a learning curve for every position, for every player, every rookie that I've ever coached, receiver, tight end, offensive lineman, quarterback, defensive back. I've coached a variety of them, and there's a learning and a process that you go through with all young players.
Thank you.
Yep.
Evan Barnes.
Hey, Brian, how are we doing?
Good, Evan. How are you?
Good. So with these last few workouts that you guys had, just curious, kind of just what, I know you said that, what you specialize in, you love doing that, but just kind of what do you glean from those now going into the last few days of this decision process before the draft? Just what do you learn? What do you gain? What do you see? Just kind of how do you take that into your final deliberations for this week for the draft?
Yeah, I'd appreciate the question, understand the question. Draft process is, we hold those close to the vest, and, there's still work that needs to be done. But to get into the details of this helps, this doesn't help, we'll keep those private.
Maybe just in a general sense, did that help a little bit more? Like in the general, just how does that help the process? Does that reframe a little bit more?
Yeah, look, you do as much work as you can, this time of the year for the draft. I really have a great appreciation for Joe and the scouts that have put so much time, effort, and energy into this, as they do every year of being on the road and meeting with people. And, you try to catch up the best you can as a coach. So every, touch point is important.
Thank you.
Yep.
Paul Schwartz.
Hey, Brian.
Morning, Paul.
Good morning. Morning, just past morning into afternoon, but
okay. We'll
accept it. It's okay. What do you like about this? Is a day where obviously players are in, first day of the workouts. I have a couple of questions. What do you like about today?
Well, you like that the players are back in the building. It's always, that's what you do as a coach. You sit down, you meet with players. This is very, introductory in terms of our systems and our expectations and our standards. But, the relationships that you've built with the players that have been on your team, to get to see them and see how they're doing. And then also the new players that you've added, to get a feel for those guys, all but early in the process. But, it's always better when the players are in the building.
And one more, do you kind of, as a guy who's been around quarterbacks your whole, football career pretty much, do you kind of glean in on seeing like a guy, Russell is in the building for the first time with a lot of the players? I know he's worked out with them a little bit off the field, or, out of the building. Kind of look and see how is he interacting with these guys? He's the guy who's going to be playing a lot. He's a veteran. This is a whole new group. You kind of look from afar or try to facilitate, so let me see how he's doing with these guys early and then kind of check in on that as things go on.
Yeah, I think that's important for the quarterback position. Again, Russell's been doing this for a long time, as is Jameis. Both of those guys, I asked them to get up this morning in front of the offense and talk a little bit about their story, kind of where they came from and who's important to them in their life and what's important to them in this game. And they both did a great job. But it's really early in the process, Paul. But they understand what leadership is. They've done it at a number of places. And I expect them to do that here.
Thanks.
Yep.
Dan Duggan.
Hey, Brian, I feel like whenever we talk to you about quarterbacks, you talk about a lot of intangibles, like how they are in crunch time and 2-minute drills, that type of stuff. How important is just the physical traits? Is there a baseline where you need guys to have a certain level of physical traits?
Yeah, and Dan, that goes for every position. You have to be a good player physically, whether it's speed, quickness, accuracy, decision making. I'm talking about, those last two for quarterbacks: power, ability to bend, redirect, offensive lineman, get off, ability to cover man to man, play the deep part of the field, great turn. I mean, there's obviously a physical skill set. You got to have good players. To put yourself in good position that can do the necessary things physically that you need them to do.
And you and Joe have gone through the quarterback process, multiple times now, I guess. Are you aligned in your evaluations of the group this year?
Yeah, I think, again, the draft, it's really good to start catching up as a coach. You got a lot of work to put in. Our scouts and Joe have been doing a great job. And I'd say that, the process has been excellent every year. There's really good communication, and not just with the quarterbacks, with each position. It's okay to disagree. You're not going to be disagreeable. And everybody has thoughts and opinions of what they evaluate and what they see. And there's great conversation. I mean, I really enjoy our process of how we do it with the assistant coaches, with the area scouts, with the national scouts, sometimes the pro scouts, with Joe, myself, the people that are kind of in Joe's leadership group, our coordinators. There's a lot of good give and take. And at the end of the day, when you're drafting a player, everybody's on board with who you draft and the process of which we go through.
Thanks.
Jordan Renan.
Got to unmute myself here. Hey, Brian.
Gotcha.
What's going on? Every year you come in there, I'm sure you have like a message to the team, a big overarching message. I'm sure it varies by year a little bit. What was your message to this group this year?
Yeah, it's early, Jordan. It's phase one. So, we're really, our strength coaches are speaking to our team. Head from departments are speaking to the team, different departments. Could be nutrition, could be sports psychology, could be the training room, media relations, myself, and then we break up. One team, one area goes to lift, the other team, the offense stays to meet, then they flip. It's very introductory right now. We're just getting going here in phase one, and look forward to getting to work.
And then how do you balance your time, right? Because you have the team here now, and you also have the draft this week. Are you close to being done on the draft side? Like where are you at with that, and how do you sort of split your time there?
Yeah, I mean, Joe goes all the way up. He'll have a good idea of kind of what we're going to do. But there's conversations still to be had. But as a coaching staff, myself and the assistant coaches, from the players that are in here, from when they get in here to 8 to when they're done, all our focus is on our players, who we have in our building. Then there'll be other meetings after that maybe you might bring a coordinator in, or a position coach that's evaluated a certain guy, or someone that was a late add-on. But there's conversations kind of all the way up until the day.
We'll take 3 more. Brian Dunleavy.
I think you're on mute, Brian.
I am, and no video. How are you?
Good.
Thanks. You guys were as
Rookie
injured.
at this?
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out 5 years in. Yeah. At least it's not, the camera's not right up against my face like usual.
Gotcha.
So,
thankful for that. Thanks.
You guys were as injured at the end of last year as any team I can ever remember. As you get going here, I know you're not on the field yet, but as you get going do you have anybody that you expect to be out for a while, or you expect most of the guys who were injured at the last year to be able to get going here in the spring, or anybody out till, like, you don't think you will see till camp?
Yeah, I mean, it's early. All those guys that have had some type of injury are rehabbing. They've done a great job, throughout that process from the time that they've been gone up until now.
And then the Giants were nice enough to post like 68 photos online of report day. I don't see one of Malik Neighbors. Is he in the building today?
Yeah, I would say that I'm not going to get into who's here, who's not here. We have very good attendance. The people that aren't here, that it's for a specific reason, and they'll be here shortly.
And then last, to follow up on Duggan's question, what happens, like, how do you reach that consensus? You gave us a very good answer there on the process, but what if, like, it's Wednesday and Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen don't agree on who the 3rd overall pick should be, or it's Friday and you don't agree on the 34th overall pick? Like, you make it seem like you always reach an agreement. Does that mean somebody has to give in?
No, I really appreciate our process. Having done this a long time in a very variety of places, I appreciate our process, our communication, the scouts' communication, the coaches' communication. And once we come up with who we're taking, regardless of when that is, there's an agreement on all parties. And, we look forward to bringing that player, whoever that player may be, into our building and try to help develop them.